I do have a secret though that I really need to share with you. Hi guys. For the past month, I was conducting a secret social experiment on my Instagram. The experiment I thought would help spread awareness over domestic abuse and domestic violence. Okay, I have this idea to test people to see if they would recognize that I need help. And I think I'm gonna do it on Instagram because that makes sense. Not sure what to do yet. I haven't really thought that through. So, but I think I'll have to do it for a really long time. So hopefully I can pull this off. If I kind of really want to make it really long term, and the topic would be a domestic violence. I want to check if my audience will be able to see that something is wrong with me, and if anybody will respond to it and get me help that I need. Wish me luck, because I've never done anything like that before. So okay, let's do this. Basically, I think that it is extremely important that people are aware of how to help and how to spot those people that really need it, and they are trying to voice what's happening in their homes, but their voice is crushed. So hopefully what my aim is to raise awareness to domestic violence topic and how to spot that someone needs our help, and that help needs to be given immediately. Okay. Domestic abuse comes in variety of forms. Some of them include coercive, psychological, forced marriage, physical, financial, sexual. Domestic abuse can happen to anybody. It's not just from a lifelong partner. It doesn't have to come from someone that you're with. In this society that we have, we live among multiple people in loads of house share. Domestic abuse can also happen in house shares by your flatmate or even your friend. It is important to raise awareness that anybody who is in distress and deserves and needs our help gets that help. So, for the past month, I was conducting a social experiment on my own audience on Instagram. My aim is to raise awareness on domestic abuse and being able to recognize the signs of it. In today's world, we're so fast-paced, we don't have necessarily time to catch up with everybody all the time, but we can know so much from our social media. And funny enough, during the conducting of my experiment, this happened. And I'm very glad it did, because it raised even more awareness, especially to this sign. And this sign is also something that I've researched on my Instagram to see how many people will respond to it. Okay, so I will just quickly go through things that I've done over the past month. I had to go deeply into the character of someone who is being abused. First of all, how I started my experiment around a month ago was to slightly deteriorate on my stories. I was always that person who was there's stories full of me all the time. I'm talking about 500 different topics. I'm doing so much and everything. But I started to deteriorate from that. I've started to publish more darker content, or more quotes, more spiritual stuff, something that essentially could be seen as me being bothered by something, or like tormented internally by something that is completely different from my, happy and joyful and stupid and jokey side that I usually show on my stories. No one really said anything to that, like they take it as it is, which is, it's fine. But that was like the first thing that I've done. And to go even deeper in that character, I actually used my own story. I live in a house share, and currently we don't have a great relationship with one of my housemates. And I kind of used that situation like in my head to distress myself a bit, to get into the character of a person who is severely distressed by someone's presence and actions. I started talking to my friends more about that person and that situation, like exaggerate some of the emotions because it had to feel real to me. And I also wanted to do a control group. Obviously, in every study, you need a control group. And that control group was supposed to be my friends who would have a bit more of a backstory. I mean, things were true, but like not to that extent, that I made it to be for that particular experiment. And they had more knowledge about what's going on in the house, just to see how, strangers and how friends will react to certain signs and things going on. Will they pick up on that? Which like that help, who's gonna come to help me, Anyway, so I started this narrative with my friends. I also gave some breadcrumbs to like random people that I've seen throughout the month about like not having the best situation at home, and just kind of like venting to them about the person. No one really asked more about that. If they were asking, they were mostly asking about like the situation itself. They didn't really ask about my emotional state. They didn't like dig deeper. Right? Fine. Like, no biggie, right? And then I had to go deeper to obviously test my audience if they're gonna pick up on stuff. So what I've done, for the last 2 weeks, I really tried to sound depressive or depressed, really. I tried to sound as much emotional and unstable as possible. I was putting on stories, deleting them. I was like trying to record something, but then have like this weird character, like I'm trying to be funny, but it's not funny, it's tragic. I'm like moany suddenly, I'm moaning about stuff. And just see if like people will pick up on like a changed behavior, like weird stuff going on suddenly. No one pick up on that. No one. Zero. So then I had to, my last week, for quite a few days, I completely vanished from Instagram. I didn't post anything. I didn't do any story. And then when I came back, I just started bombarding my stories with stuff about emotional abuse, about toxic people, and about stuff regarding how you can deal with emotional distress. Well, no one really picked up on that. So then I had to just go straight up and I posted this video. Hello, good morning to everybody. And as you can see, I incorporated what is now known as international sign for domestic abuse or being in distress and needed immediate help. So if you see this sign, that is someone saying they've been watching me. I need to get help right now. Help me. There were 2 people that picked up on that sign, and I'll show you the conversations. So first conversation, First conversation, a woman doesn't want to be named, but she just responded, "Where are you?" So I knew, okay, she knows. Did you recognize it? Yes. So I had to come clean. I was like, I'm doing a social experiment. Thank you for knowing this. I want to know how many people know and how many people will react to it. And she was like, not gonna lie, I did panic a bit because I was like, what the hell do I do? Which is a completely normal reaction. Like, you want to help someone, but you don't know how to help. You don't know the situation. You don't know where they are. And then she goes, so I thought maybe start with finding out where you are. And this is perfect. It's the same principle as when you call the police. First, give out the information of where are you, because in any case that the communication will be cut off right after that, the police at least knows where you are, and just in case can send a police officer in the area. So give that information first, okay? Because that is the most important. And she, even though knew that I said, okay, I do have, like, I'm doing a social experiment, she still proceed to, glad it's being handled, but shout me if you need support at any point, which is honestly made my day. And when I asked her if she wants to be anonymous in this video, because I will be doing a video about that, she really pointed out that it isn't about who we are and getting a badge for responding with anonymity. It's easier to focus on the concept you're trying to convey, in my opinion, and honestly, this is so great. And then I also have another response from a guy. He doesn't actually follow me from like long time. He maybe started following me a few weeks ago or something. And on that day, he sent me this message. Hello. I saw your stories just now, and if you would like to talk about photos or anything else, let me know. Which is a great way to just casually ask, because you don't know the person at all, person doesn't know you, so just like approach with real respect. So I was like, well, hey, which story are you referring to? I had to make sure that he actually knows. I thought he knew, but I had to like know. And he's like, the third one about 12 hours ago. So I've checked. Yeah, it was, again, third one from the beginning, 12 hours ago. And I'm like, did you recognize it? Yes. Good. And that's why I'm writing. Fabulous. Guys, this is a perfect response. So again, I've told him that I'm doing that social experiment, blah, blah, blah. He said, I completely understand. I really got shit scared, to be honest, which is, again, understandable. So I just decided to ask him more questions. If I would say that I need help, what would you do? I would ask you your address and details and immediately call the police. Again, first give out the location and then police will figure it out. They are there for that exact reason, and someone can call on your behalf, so use this. And I kind of wanted to ask a few more questions, so I asked him, what if I would ask you not to do this? Like, don't call the police. Like, what if I would be still that victim who is like, but no, like, please don't, like, I'm ashamed, like, I don't want, like, please don't. I would ask to meet to discuss some ideas for pictures and portraits, and from there talk to you face to face and see what happens. Which is also a great offer, especially if you don't know someone, but you know that there's something going on, but you want to approach it with respect in case you're wrong, or in case that person still haven't really decided to get out, because that is, you can't help someone who's not willing to be helped. You know what I mean? It's a good way to approach that situation. Exactly 2 people responded to this sign. which is, and that is worrying. None of my friends picked up on that. None of the people that I've spoke to over the last month, leaving those breadcrumbs about my situation, no one picked up on that sign. And that sign really helps and really saves lives. Look at this story that literally just came out 2 days ago or 3 days ago or something. Let's watch it together actually.
Be quite useful.
If you are in need of help, or if you see this symbol, you need to get help immediately. Open hand,
Exactly.
thumb across your palm, and close your 4 fingers into a fist.
Your hand is up like this, then you tuck your thumb in, and all 4 fingers over that thumb, and back and forth. A motorist notified our 911 dispatch center that he had observed a young lady in a passenger car, that she appeared to be in distress, and that she was giving the TikTok signal to him that she was in distress and had a fear for her life. We positioned ourselves along the interstate at exit 41, about 9 miles from that location, and our detectives even said that they looked in and the female was still giving that signal, which we didn't even know what it meant. We do now. And we conducted a traffic stop by boxing the vehicle in. I got the 16-year-old missing person female out of the vehicle safely, and arrested the driver, a 61-year-old male from the same town that this young lady was from.
It was nice to see you again.
And that is a good example of how to use this sound in communication when you cannot use words.
Catch up.
Yeah. Oh, can you share that banana bread recipe?
Oh, sure. It's actually my mom's banana bread recipe, but it's pretty foolproof and it's super easy.
Well, I appreciate it. I know your mom is a great baker, so I should be good.
The trick is to grease the pan really well and use overripe bananas. That's my mom's tip.
Okay, good to know. I can't wait to try it. So thanks again for the recipe.
That application on TikTok, that hand gesture was everything. Had that not been transmitted
Honestly.
by the young lady, had there not been someone out there that knew how to interpret what she was doing, then who knows, we may not have had a good resolution on this. And maybe this will be a good thing, because this story has went national, and we think that motorists and law enforcement agencies nationwide should be aware of this and know what this signal means, and I think it can be quite useful in the future.
I knew that there's only 2 people recognizing this sign. It really bothered me, so I've done something else the next day. Like, it was another upcoming post for me. I had to post on Instagram just photo from my shoot, but I thought I will literally ask for help. I try to be as playful as possible, but I never do this. How exciting life proves to be sometimes. Help. It's literally in there. Help. No one picked up on it. Not one soul. Not one soul was like, that's a fucking strange caption. Like, and you know, I do really actually write my captions. Like, I have like more like long stuff going on, and if I have a short one, that's usually some kind of a quote, but not like this. And I'm definitely not doing like weird capital letters at the beginning, so that was like strange. But again, no one dug deeper, so I was like, okay. So I thought the next day I'm just gonna show up all bruised, which makes no sense. And that night I was actually working. I was shooting an event. Okay, woke up because I came back at 3 from a job. Shooting event. So my story with the sign is about to finish for like the rotation for 24 hours, and well, that was the reason why I decided to do this social experiment, because people don't know. People don't know. But thankfully, few of them new. I will show you some conversations. And it's time for a phase of 4. I've done a few things. I've done the sign. I've done the help. Just like look at my post. And then today I am gonna do some bruising, which is hard, so I will have to do this on this hand, you know, like if someone is attacking you, like you are doing a typical like self-defense moves. So I'm gonna do some bruising on my hands. What a night that was. Oh my god, it was amazing. But I'm definitely a sucker for a certain type of photos. So let me show you actually, Wayne. This, oh my god, I'm so happy with this. So cool, right? Case scenario, people will ask about the bruising that I've made in here, and they will ask, hey, what's happening, what's going on, like did you fall off the stage or something, like what happened, you know? Like I've showed a nice picture that I've done, but I make sure that I was like, literally, I will show you. And I've also signaled this as well, and let me show you. No one noticed, no one questioned anything. If you need help, you need another person to pick up on the signals. Okay, the definition of communication is the act of giving, receiving, and sharing information, okay? That's the basics. I can point it out for you. There's no communication if one person is just sending signals. You need someone who will receive that and understands it. That is the communication. So when, you know, it always baffles me, like when people are like, oh, I'm only responsible to what I said, not what you understood. No, honey, that is not how communication works. You're saying stuff, but another person needs to receive it and needs to understand this. So if you're not speaking to the way that they can grasp and understand what you're saying, you're not a great communicator. And this is why it is so important for you guys to know this sign and also know how to recognize the patterns, like psychological patterns. So, update. So my fake shit is still here after like hours, which is pretty good. I might have a backup career. So far, no one really came forward. No one asked me about those. And I really showed them like loud and clear. However, there was one person who was chatting to me a bit more, like just asking if everything's okay. Like this guy doesn't know me. We didn't have like a lot of interactions before that, so maybe he's just not sure if that's the right approach. But he's definitely like digging deeper into like, hey, are you okay? Another thing that I've done, so I was like, okay, so this is not working. Let me try another thing. So yesterday, I was oversharing. I was posting. I was up and about. My face was everywhere. Because the next thing is just seeking that attention. Like, I need attention from someone. Look at me. Like, talk to me. Again, no one pick up on that. So yeah, I went from distress to actually signaling help, showing violence against me, bruising, and then being overly open and overly expressive for like screaming for attention. And not one person apart from 2 lovely people that messaged me directly picked up on it. What can you do to be better? Pay attention to people around you, to your friends and people you follow. Anything physical that you see from a person, it's okay to ask. around to build that relationship so I feel safe to tell when I'm ready. What are emotional signs of domestic abuse? There's tons, guys. There's agitation, anxiety, and that like constant fear, tiptoeing around, changes in sleep habits. Not enough because someone is keeping you awake on purpose, or too much where you just cannot handle reality, so it's easier to sleep. Developing any drug or alcohol related problem. Abusing substances because it's easier to not face reality when your head is somewhere else. Loss of interest in daily activities. You just don't want to do stuff because what for? Whatever you're gonna do, you're just gonna be mishandled that way or another. Like there's no point. Low self-esteem. That's another big thing because again, shame. Someone that is in close proximity of you is violating you emotionally or physically. In your head, you're going into that place very subconsciously that you're not worth anything because people around you, they don't see your value and you're being undervalued, you're being abused. They will constantly be a bit like on edge, like something is about to happen. Like I could be sitting in a room and everything's fine, but I'm more like just waiting for something to happen to me, or something happening around me, or someone finding out what's going on. Because again, I'm so ashamed. They may develop symptoms of depression or actual depression. Emotional sign that we always miss as well is actually trying to talk about it. People will try to direct your attention to something like I did. I tried to direct my audience into thinking about like abuse, emotional, physical abuse through what I was posting. Person becomes distant. Person isolates themselves from everybody, or is being isolated from everybody. Cancels appointment, don't do anything last minute. They don't participate in activities that they would normally enjoy. More about domestic abuse. I will link all of that below, so please read it out. My social experiment proved to me that I need to work on my communication, but also I need to work on my audience, which this is what I'm doing right now with this. The whole point of this was to raise awareness, not only to this signal of domestic abuse, but to remind you that it can happen to everybody and anybody. It could be me, it could be you, it could be your neighbor, it could be your friend or a co-worker. Pay attention to people around you, because at the end of the day, we all just walk each other home.